Recording. Good evening, everybody. I'm going to give you permission to record the session and then we'll get going. As a reminder, please alert me through the chat if you have a question, through the chat or by raising your hand if you have a question for Coach. Coach, your thoughts on today's result?
Well, for sure, always going to be, one of the tougher games out of this long 8-game stretch, and given the confidence, I think in the early program that the Galaxy have had, we were running into a team that were going to be tough to play against here at the end of an incredibly difficult stretch. And first period, I thought we showed the most promising signs, some situations that we may well have made some more of. Some of you guys might well have seen some replays on one or two situations in the box and outside the box that I felt might have gone our way, but wasn't to be. And the second half, Galaxy were better than us, that is for sure. They found another gear. We found it very difficult to navigate that energetic press in our half of the field. And it really was a matter of whether or not we could hold on in the end. And unfortunately, that wasn't to be.
Thank you, Coach. We'll pick up the session today with Tim Sullivan.
Hey, you kind of discussed it there a little bit, but what was it about the second half that changed? What, allowed them to come out of the locker room and maybe be a little crisper in the final third, and you guys had trouble getting out of your own defending third?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things, Tim. One is the fatigue and the grind of being away and in, enemy territory, as it were, for so long. But that comes on the back of what I could only describe as maybe a little bit of a flea in their ear, the Galaxy from Greg, to say, look, you need to get after these a bit more. Their back line played a very, very high line. And I don't think we were able to either navigate or break that high line on any real substantial occasions. Whether that was timing of runs, really good midfield pressure from them to prevent a good entry pass. There were numerous different reasons that in the end, they were better than us in the second half, and there's no getting away from it. We certainly needed one or two more players just to maybe express themselves or deal with the ball individually slightly better. But I've said to the guys in there, we're devastated to lose the game, especially late on. You feel as though you're coming towards those closing moments, and whether anyone thinks we deserve a point or not, the guys have put a tremendous effort in to stay in the game in that second half. But, when you look back across the 8 games we've had away from home, which is, what I have to do, we've put ourselves in a tremendously competitive position. We've seen some really good displays and some really good football. And tonight, the second 45 minutes was probably as difficult as it's been for us. And maybe we should have expected that.
Greg Hills with the next question.
Gary, as LA kind of came out of that locker room into the second half and they started to get that energy going, did your mind go to what you guys have gone throughout the whole 8-game stretch? And secondly, was it a possibility, maybe a thought in your mind, to get some subs on the field before you put Brian on?
Yeah, the big questions are, okay, do we need to change personnel or shape to try and get some joy out of this? The guys on the field, especially when they've got the pace of the game, it can be difficult when there's really fine lines that are going to separate teams. Annabelle and Sean and Randall were doing a terrific job in midfield, albeit that they were stretched. They'd got a nice understanding. They were dealing with entry passes. The back line were working well. And I think then, to your point, the only thought is, should we freshen this up? And then indeed how to. We were going a tad more direct. It was a necessity to miss their press, and to lose CJ's physicality was always a concern. Not that I didn't feel Aki or anyone else couldn't come in and give us some extra legs, but I just felt that physical presence had served us in some really difficult circumstances. So, yes, maybe in the end, was that the difference? I don't think so. I think we struggled to manage the ball as well as we did in the first half under more pressure. And, really and truly, it was down to probably a little bit more confidence and quality on the ball that was going to give us that respite.
Tim Sullivan with a follow-up.
Gary, I know, or at least suspect you are not a fortune teller, but do you think that when you look back on this game, maybe in the next couple of days, it'll hurt a little bit less because I guess the manner in which you lost it is obviously acutely painful, but the fact that you guys stood toe-to-toe with an LA team that's been at or near the top of the Western Conference throughout this early stretch of the season kind of shows what maybe your potential is later in the year?
Yeah, absolutely. I, as all of the guys, players and staff, wanted to see. This is a very, very talented side. You got Chicharito back to his best. He's looked sharp. He's looked engaged in these opening games. The team's confident. They've added some players, of course, and they are one of the top sides in this Western Conference. And unfortunately, it comes at the end of a very long and drawn-out away spell. But, it was important for us to see how we matched up against that, what we were capable of achieving against a team like that. And there are ways of losing, of course. Nobody wants to, but there are ways and ways of losing. And today, we've been beaten by a good team in the dying moments. And I think we've shown as many qualities across the board again as we may be able to. The difference was today, they did a very good job in the second half of limiting what we are and have been very good at, which is stretching teams out, connecting quickly, getting out into their half of the field and beyond, securing the ball and making good choices, managing the game or quickly creating. They dictated that in the second half, and that was a problem for us. First half, I thought there were some really encouraging moments, and I don't know what everyone else's take on it is, but we were pretty screwed up on the line about the CJ challenge from Alex's cross, where the right back comes into the back of him. I don't know what anyone else has seen, but I've got to tell you, in the run of play, in real time, that looked like a foul in the box, and that's a big moment.
Ben Wright with the next question.
Yeah, Gary, I know the loss isn't how you wanted to end it, but just looking back on this 8-game stretch, 11 points, 1.38 points, I think, per game is obviously more than respectable. How do you kind of assess this first 8-game stretch now that it's over?
But there were a number of boxes we wanted to tick in the tough stretch we had. The first one was what you mentioned. Could we put ourselves in a competitive spot where, hopefully we can take advantage of these home games, which, by the way, are not a God-given right of ours. But, we certainly have a good stretch at home now that I'd like to think these guys are looking forward to, and of course the fans are as well. So that was number one. Number two, I think we all felt that at certain points in this run of games, we had to show that we could win games, that we weren't just going to be a defensive unit, and take our chance with what the game presented to us. And I think we've done that. We haven't done it in every game. It's not been possible to do it in every game, but we've certainly shown some, really creative, fluid, and aggressive facets of our game. Have we defended well in other areas? Absolutely, and at other times. But that was a must, so that when we go back on May the 1st, it's not a completely new look to the team. and we're trying to change a mentality or an inner philosophy that, you know, is so difficult to turn. And I think we also wanted to see, you know, lastly, could our guys that make a difference, could those individuals, Randall, Hanny, CJ, you know, could they show what they were about on the road in some really, really tough circumstances? And I think they've done that as well. And I think we all know now, going back home, you know, with that momentum of games, of fans, brand new stadium, there's so much to look forward to now. I think when we get off the flight, we give ourselves a couple of days here to just come down off of what we've had to endure here. I think to your point, Ben, you know, there's an awful lot to be encouraged about.
Thank you, Coach. I appreciate you taking the time. We'll be joined us by Sean Davis.
With a loss like that, I'm really proud of the group for the effort. You know, I think it was a tale of two halves. I think the first half performance was really strong, but we absorbed a lot of pressure in the second and couldn't quite connect the right passes to get out of our half. But, you know, all in all, it is disappointing to lose a game like that late. But from a big picture point of view, I think we should be proud of the results over the course of these first 8 games.
Dre Hills with the Tennessean with the first question.
Yeah, I know you guys have, you know, been traveling a lot, going to all these road games, Sean. And did at any point in that second half, did you mentally start thinking about, you know, all of it has come to this game? It's been a while since you guys have had a home game. I know you guys haven't had a home game yet this season. So did that come to your mind? Did it physically start to wear on you in the second half?
No, I think we've been really good about taking everything game by game. And I think that mentality has helped us over the course of these 8 games. You know, maybe subconsciously, you know, it wore us down. But I think on the field tonight, all the guys were focused, and it was challenging. We know that they're a really strong team. We know that they're really good with the ball. But, you know, I think we were just, you know, we were close to securing that point. But it is disappointing to not be able to hold on. And, you know, these are lessons that we're going to continue to take with us. And as we build our foundation for this season, you know, I do think that there's still a lot of positives to take from tonight.
Team Sullivan.
Sean, Gary mentioned, and I think it was apparent too, that you guys had a lot of trouble getting out of your own end in the second half. What was it? Was it something that they changed at halftime? Was it you guys just having kind of a series of maybe just small technical things? What prevented you guys from being able to play out of that press?
Yeah, I think you have to give them credit. You know, I think they made some adjustments, and they did a good job of really pinning us in their half with the ball, and then also, you know, just being ready to press us as soon as we wanted as well. They really compressed the field and, you know, pinned us in our own half. And from there, it's just, you know, you need a lot of quality, especially when you start to fatigue, and that's not always easy. But, you know, we just couldn't quite connect the right passes to get out of our half. And, you know, that's not because of lack of effort, obviously. I think everyone put in a really strong shift. Everyone gave everything, but this is part of the learning process for us. And, you know, just another lesson that we have to take from this road stretch.
Claudia Villalobos.
Sean, what was the part of the game, especially in the second half, that actually prevented you guys, besides the ball control, that it was very specific in certain areas of the field? In the case of Nashville, what was it so difficult to get possession of the ball and perhaps do something different?
Yeah, I think it was a combination of them being good with the ball. You know, they would flood the outside areas, really try to draw us out and overload on the wings, and that's never easy for any team to deal with, especially away from home. So, you know, starting with that, they had the ball a lot and pinned us back. And then from there, when we would win the ball, I think they were very aggressive at stepping and trying to limit our time on the ball. And so that made things even more difficult. So it's something we're going to have to take a look at. I think we're all pretty honest that that's part of the game that we could improve on tonight. And, you know, it's just, again, part of us building a strong foundation for this team going forward, because we're going to have other away games that are in difficult environments. But I think it's a combination of those two things.
Ben Wright.
Yeah, Sean, I know it's not how you guys wanted to end the road trip, but just kind of looking back at these 8 games, what's your immediate reaction to this stretch, and what do you think you can carry forward from this into the home games?
Yeah, I think right now it's things, and it's going to take some time to really feel proud of these last 8 games. You know, it's a tough way to end this stretch, but you know, I think we'll have some time to reflect on this game, and later in the week we can reflect on the trip as a whole and be really proud of what we've accomplished in some tough places to play. But you know, I'm really proud of the group, really proud to be here and be a part of it. And you know, I think it does give us a really good base going forward, and we couldn't be more excited to be at home. I've heard so many great things about the fans in Nashville, about the environment. You know, I remember playing against Nashville last year and being in awe of the atmosphere. So I can't wait to experience that. I know the guys are too. And, you know, that's something that gives us a lot to look forward to this week. And we want to put in a performance that makes the entire club, the organization, the fan base really proud. So yes, it stings. It's disappointing not to get a result tonight, but we move forward. We learn from it, build on that foundation, and you know, we can be more ready to play at home.
Team Sullivan with the final question of the evening.
Sean, you guys were without Dax again tonight, obviously for very different reasons than last time you were without him. Did you guys get some words of encouragement or anything from him, or have you guys shared messages with him about what's going on in his life? Yeah,
without a doubt. You know, and Dax is such an important part of this team, the heartbeat of this team, and you know, we're all really happy for him and his family. And you know, we've been texting with him yesterday and today. And, you know, I think the support is mutual. We're really happy for him, and obviously we miss him, but there's more important things in life, and you know, we're happy for this next chapter for him and his family. But at the same time, can't wait to have him back with the group.
Thank you, Sean, for taking the time, and thank you, everybody. We look forward to seeing you next week when we open GEODIS Park. Have a good evening.
Thank you, everyone.